I've hit the 2-week mark, and I've been using this phone as my daily driver in my #1 SIM slot for the last 2 weeks. And so what I'm going to do is going to go ahead and give you my full review, going back to the old school style, just kind of going down a list of items to make it a little bit more easier on the review, so I don't take too long on the review. Let's start with build quality and design. So the Huawei Mate 9 right now is making a lot of noise on the internet. There's no getting around it. It's making some noise. And there's a reason why. Now, this isn't any special kind of new design. It's just got a metal body with a glass front. That's exactly all it has. Nothing spectacular about it. But sometimes just putting it together in a different form factor or a different package, changing little things, it feels pretty good. So this is an all aluminum body. The design on the back here, you've got your central hub here, kind of like LG style, where you got the fingerprint reader, laser autofocus, dual cameras back here, single LED flash or dual LED flash, and you've got a microphone back there for noise cancellation. You got your like hub back here because this doesn't have any physical buttons on the front, so you're just looking at all the information on the other things you need on the back there. So what a beautiful setup. Microphone, laser autofocus, dual tone LED flash, and Leica optics right there with your fingerprint reader. On this side here, you've got a nice power button and volume rocker. Now these aren't flush, but they're not ridged at all. The power button doesn't have any kind of ridge on it, which is what I'm kind of used to. But that's just a small pet peeve of mine. I really like having a ridged power button because I don't wear cases on the device around the house. On this side, you've got a SIM tray, which is dual SIM, also doubles as an SD card slot in the second slot. On the top here, you've got the IR blaster and a headphone jack, which is definitely something that a lot of people enjoy, having an IR blaster. Now, I'm not a fan of the headphone jack being on the top, and some people always ask, well, why is that? You know, when I pull my phone out, I'm going to be ready to talk, and I don't want to flip it upside down to do so. That's my reasoning. On the bottom here, you've got what appears to be 2 speaker grills, but it's really not. One's microphone, one's speaker, and you've got your USB Type-C right there. On the front here, though, however, there is a speaker that is used for the front, for the dual speaker setup on this device. Then you've got your camera up front as well. So the design of the phone is not going to be something that's just going to jump out to you and say fantastic right away. But looking at the front of this phone, you're looking at a 5.9-inch display in a compact body like this. This is a very small phone to have such a big display. So keep that in mind. If you want a large display, you definitely want to think about the Huawei Mate 9. It is actually a beautiful display as well. And we'll get into the displays here in just a second. Actually, let me go ahead and change the wallpaper from black to one of the standard wallpapers here. And we'll do that. I'll change it back to one of my favorite ones here. There we go. So the Huawei Mate 9 has definitely been a phone shaking up the industry. Like I said before, the design of this phone is beautiful. It feels really good. It's super thin in the hand. It may look small in my hands, but this is a pretty big phone, but it's still smaller than phones that have screen sizes that are about the same. And it's actually smaller than some phones that have smaller screen sizes. So this phone is definitely going to please you when it comes to the build quality. It's very form-fitting, it's super thin, it's lightweight, and that's pretty much what I like about the design of the phone. I like having a rear-mounted fingerprint reader. That's just a preference. Some people might like it on the front, but I actually like it on the rear because it just makes sense to pull your phone out and be ready to talk or ready to get on it as soon as you get it out of your pocket. And this is a very fast fingerprint reader. So now again, the screen is a 1080p display coming in at 5.9 inches, pretty much 6 inches. And I think this is going to be probably one of the better panels that you see from IPS. Now, for the techies out there, the nits on this is over 600. So that means to the average consumer, you're going to get a very bright display. I mean, really bright. It's going to really be bright. So if you're needing a phone to work outside or just in really bright situations, this is one that you can definitely think about getting. Now, I keep my brightness at about 35%, but I'm going to put it on auto for this video. And we'll let the camera adjust automatically with the light of the phone sensors. So screen on here is a 1080p display. Like I said, it's good. It's gonna really impress you. If this 1080p display doesn't impress you, I don't know what will. This isn't a Super AMOLED display like the Moto Z Play. That is a beautiful display. It's the saturation on the AMOLED displays. I like them. I like AMOLED displays. That's why when I got this phone, I was like, wow, this phone could really pass for an AMOLED display. Blacks look blacks, blacks look black, whites look white. All the colors appear to be pretty accurate. It's actually really, really solid. So let's move on to the speakers. Now the speakers on here, there's a dual setup. There's a speaker here and then there's a speaker here. And this is where your microphone is going to be. So they have what's called, let me go into settings here and show you sound. Because it has what's called Stereo Plus, and I talked about this in another video. So basically what happens is when I rotate the phone this way, the stereo sound kicks in. It like amplifies and gets a lot more louder and clear, and you'll hear like a little pause in doing so. And we have it like this, it's not Stereo Plus. It's still stereo sound, but it's just not as loud. And it's actually really, really loud, guys. That Stereo Plus, I leave it turned on because I feel like that's just something that I'm going to always use, because I'm obviously watching movies and things and landscape, so it's going to be really, really loud. I've done sound tests already, so be sure to check those videos out. So this phone comes running 7.0 out of the box, but let's get to gestures. So Smart Assist is where we'll find our gestures at, and there's a lot here. Now I went over this in the initial unboxing, but this has gestures that you actually probably could use and make the phone very useful since it's a big phone. So you've got this floating dock here. So pretty much, you know, if you have really small hands, you can put that dock wherever you want it and access the bottom buttons. You can do it how you want it. And then you've got motion controls. You've got the basics here: flip to mute, pick up to reduce the volume, and things like that, raise. But the ones that might be interesting to some people are these draw ones here. So I don't use this gesture. As you can see, it's turned off because I'm not a fan of too many gestures. But you've got C for camera, E for Chrome, music. You can rename these too. You can do a W for weather. And those are just a few of the things that this phone can do. Now, the one that is useful is this one I was trying to demonstrate a little while ago. It'll let you know you draw a line across like this firmly. And the fact that it can take that without messing up the phone is amazing. So as you can see here, I can go into a split screen and I can adjust like so. Shout out to LaShawn, he's trying to win in one of these. You know I had to mess with him. But that's the gesture you can do for split screen. So split screen is actually pretty cool feature. 7.0 brings a lot to the table. Now, there's voice controls and things like that. I don't use a lot of the gestures, but just so you know, these are here. And the one for the smart cover is really nice. I plan on getting that smart cover, so you might see a video on that soon. But the point is, there's glove mode. There's a lot of gestures and features in this phone, and I think you'll be really happy with it if you were to pick it up. So moving on to the next thing here that I want to talk about is the camera. Now, I did some camera battles and some camera samples. The point is, this camera is good. There's a lot of features in here. Now, this could actually be a downside to this phone. There's too many features in here, and some people want to keep it simple. Now, I've downloaded all of the gestures, all of the extra modes that you can actually have. So these are all the modes here, and I'll just click it just to show you that there are no more modes to download. I've got them all. There's no more to install. So this could be a good and a bad thing. So HDR is one that I use, video, photo, monochrome, I use those. I don't use panorama. I use night mode, but I have it set to auto. I don't use slow motion, but it is an option. I definitely use watermark. And a lot of these, are here. I definitely don't use beauty mode, but that's just a part of the settings. So if you go back over here, here's all the settings and things that you can actually adjust. So it does have a 20 megapixel and a 12 megapixel for RGB, and monochrome for the 20. You can get 9, 8, and 6. It also shoots video, and I'll go to those settings in a second. You've got your grid. I always turn that on. And it's just got all these settings here, which could be quite confusing to the average consumer. But this is what they give you. So let me switch to video, and then I'm going to show you the video settings here. You can go to now stabilization. Optical image stabilization is only available at the 1080p at 30 frames per second, but you can shoot 720p, VGA, QVGA, and MMS. Then you can do 60 frames per second and also 4K. So I've been testing out some stabilization, so that's why it's on the 30 frames per second, but I normally keep it on 60 frames per second. But nonetheless, the camera is one of the best cameras that you could possibly want on a smartphone in today's market. It's actually really solid. All the reviews that you might see on this camera, they're going to tell you that it's a good camera. And from an end user standpoint, it's a fantastic camera. So the software in here it runs Huawei's own special UI. So it's kind of like just a bunch of icons and folders, and that's just what it is. Very simple and easy to understand. Very fluid. You don't want to see what's in my calendar. Very fluid. It's just a simple layout. And normally I would put on my Pixel launcher. I was testing the Pixel launcher, but I had no intentions on leaving the Pixel launcher as my main launcher. But I still do have it on here. But maybe I'll fire it up sometimes. But you can definitely change the default launcher. But for the review purposes, this is the stock launcher, and you have these themes here. And you can download different themes. Shout out to Nighttech. He made a video on how to do so. It's very simple to install a new theme on a Huawei device. And these are the themes. These 6 up top come preloaded, and I added this Porsche design at the bottom. So that's not a part of the phone. I added these 6 right here are the ones that actually come on. And to change it, you just click the theme and hit apply. And before doing so, it lets you know what it's going to look like. Very simple. So a pretty feature-rich phone, and the software is really fluid. It's one of those things that some people, you might think you won't like it, but I guess the only example I could use is for current day generation of people, if you have an iPhone, this phone will be exciting to you. So let's talk about battery life. And I like to do, when I'm doing a full review, I like to do show you where my battery's at the moment. So this phone gets fantastic battery. So it's saying that I have 5.5 hours left with that 40%, but I'll definitely get more than that. Let's go down to consumption and hardware, and let's go to screen. So I've got 5.5 hours with 41% left. That doesn't get any better than that. 5.5 hours with 41% left. That is amazing battery. And how long has the phone been off the charge? 17 hours and 7 minutes. So enough said about the battery. I don't have to tell you how fantastic this battery is. I've been posting stuff everywhere on social media. This phone has fantastic battery. How big is the battery? It's 4,000 milliamps. So performance in here, this runs the Kirin 960, and the Kirin 960 is the top of the line processor right now for Huawei. What does that mean? That means it benchmarks about the same as the Snapdragon 821. Now, someone said in another video, well, Jay, you said it outperforms the 821. What I mean by that is day-to-day usage on this phone compared to phones that have a Snapdragon 821 that I have, it runs better. It's more fluid. And that has a lot to do with the way they've put together this phone. That's just my experience. Your experience might be different. You might feel like the Snapdragons are the best processors on the world. I personally think that the Snapdragon 625 is one of the most battery efficient processors that I've ever come across. So when I compare the 821 to the Kirin 960, I think the Kirin 960 performs a heck of a lot better with day-to-day usage, and it also performs better with battery life in my experience. So that's just my experience. Shout out to Nighttech for making a guest appearance there. So the next and the last thing on the chopping block is the price. Now, the price of this phone might shock you. You get a metal build, you get a 20 megapixel, you get a 12 megapixel, you get laser autofocus, you get supercharging. I didn't talk about that, but this phone does have supercharging. I have a separate video on that already. Go check that out. a dual tone LED flash on here, NFC. I mean, I haven't shown the, let me clear this out real fast. Here is the, what would look to be like basically stock Android for this layout here, which is fantastic. I like how they do this. You've got all your controls up here for anything that you might need to get to. And if I edit up here, I can change these around. So the only one I don't have up here is nearby. I don't know why that one got left off, but let's add him up there. And now everything is there. So all the controls are here. Quick settings I need to get to are right here. I like that this phone here, let's jump back and talk about features for a second because I missed this. Up top here you can see ultra power saving mode, which I don't want to turn on. Let's cancel that, accidentally hit it. Ultra power saving mode, flashlight, screen record, and then you've got eye comfort up here. You've got your floating dock. Pretty much a lot of the things that you want to access and you don't want to go into the menu for the settings, swipe down with 2 fingers and they'll take you right there. Fantastic that all these features are there. So let's jump back over to price. This phone costs $599. That's the price. All of this beautiful package right here costs $599. Now to some people that's a lot of money, and I totally agree, it's a lot of money. But if you're wanting a high-end performing smartphone at a reasonable price, this is one that you should consider. I'm not going to tell you to run out and buy it just because I think it's fantastic, but I think it's fantastic. And I think if you were to bite the bullet and buy this phone, say over the Pixel, which costs a heck of a lot more, and then you get less in some, well, you get less overall pretty much. The only difference is stock Android. If you're a stock Android person, you might say, oh, I don't think I can deal with that skin. But all I would tell you is that, sorry, I was trying to manually focus. All I would tell you is that you never know until you try it. This phone right here is fantastic. I haven't had any problems. When I tell you I haven't had any hiccups or anything with this phone, I tell you no lie. It is a phenomenal performing device. The skin on here is beautiful. It looks good. It performs well. And, you know, it doesn't do any good to have a beautiful looking device if it doesn't perform well. And this phone shines in every area. The battery's great. The screen is beautiful. The cameras are fantastic. The speaker quality on it is great. It's got dual speaker setup. It's got all the bells and whistles that you would want in a quote unquote flagship device in current day. Now, some people might say, oh, it doesn't have a 2K display, you know, and it's not Daydream ready. Well, the fact of the matter is that stuff hasn't taken off yet. A lot of people are not into Daydream, and you don't need a 2K display. As a matter of fact, having a 2K display gives you a lot of downsides because you don't get the same kind of battery life that you can get out of a 1080p display. And we all have heard the saying, your eyes can't even process anything really good over 300 to 350. So take that for what you will. I don't think you need a 2K display. I think it doesn't matter what phones are released. Some people are getting upset about phones being released that don't have the latest operating system. This one has the latest operating system, but there's other phones that are being released that don't have 7.0. Who cares? I mean, those people care, but I don't think the majority of the world actually cares that a phone doesn't release with the latest operating system. If a phone performs and does what you want it to do, you the consumer, then that's all that counts. So this is the Huawei Mate 9. This is my full review. It's been your man Jay Will, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Stick around for more videos, case reviews, tempered glasses, all kind of things that are going up on this phone. And I'll compare this to several other devices in the categories. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.